16 at your cup around. My dog, styling. Styling. My dog. Hold on. I don't even need glasses, bro. Let them stare into your soul real quick. King County clothing, your king of New York, and I'm Christopher walking, the missiles is bucking. Oh, the orientation lock. Fuck. That's all good. Put my dog right there. Prince. Pins. Change up the circle of friends. The natural circle, the twins. 75 ever since 70 was in the bins. Red and blue, purple like Prince. What's good, everybody? Shout out to the squad. Prince, red and blue, purple like Prince. Prince, red and blue, purple like Prince. Charges of federal, orders incredible, markers indelible, spark is immeasurable. We gonna get started in a little bit. Don't worry about me. I'm just vibing out before I lay this goddamn holy word on you motherfuckers. Go independent like Prince. About styling. Hold on. Nigga, get the crust out your eyes. Fuck is wrong with you, man? You're supposed to be presentable. Looking crazy, my nigga. Don't talk to me like that, nigga. You the one that came on camera looking wild. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. The nether circle of the twins. 75 ever since. 70 wives in the bins. Red and blue, purple like Prince. Prince. Red and blue, purple like 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 Prince. Hold on, I got that motherfucking song for y'all. This is the anthem. This is the goddamn anthem.
Savage.
Yeah, you damn right, musicians.
All the magicians of the modern day.
They're the Magi's. They're tapping into
Magi Nation, the imagination.
and they are able to terraform
This holographic reality, I make imagination real. I got the passion and the will. 5 cool points to anybody that knows this song. Shout outs to you, nigga. I pack my bag and play the field.
I make imagination real. I got the passion in the will.
If you talking cash, then we can build. I'm not like my dad, I pay my bills.
I feel like this rock gon' make me mills.
Riding through on polo horses in my little sweat. Fuck your Rolex. Bitch, I'll tell time like the Olmecs. Bitch, I'm tech savvy like the tone text. Got it from neck to my soul plex like the Aztec.
Nigga roll dice.
Wanna Azbet
That's a little ice.
when we blast tech. Aquarian age, get your ass wet. Pressure bust, take your last breath. How can I falter? Rocks on my altar. From the rock of Gibraltar. Oh, by the way, I'm coming live from my motherfucking altar.
Ahead of the game.
Head in the rain. From Nigerian dames. With Iberian names. Gold everything. Africa James. Iberian chain. Cold as a Fendi.
Go to the Mindy.
Go to the bunch of pictograms. 666 likes on my Instagram. And all of them goddesses. Shout outs to my singing bowl. I don't know if y'all can. Oh, y'all can't even see it. Damn. I can't even see it. The Herkimer diamond glued in here. Y'all don't know if y'all can see. Y'all probably can't. Nope. Nope. Okay. Oh, there it goes. It's glittering. It's shining. It's shining. It's right there. Got that Herkimer diamond glued in there. Took the singing bowl to the next level. You talking that abundance, we can build, my nigga. I might change glasses on you niggas. Hold on, let me see what I feel more. The rose tinted joint just to see all the beauty in life. Then we got the black and gold joint, feeling like a baron. Oh, matter of fact, shout outs to the Barons. Shout outs to my niggas one time. I think that's another page joint. Since we lost Chris, just vibe out to the music, feel it out. What we got, like another minute? Oh no, it's 7 o'clock right now. I make imagination real. I got the passion and the will. If you talking cash, then we could build. I'm not like my dad, I pay my bills. I pack my bag and play the field. I make imagination real. I got the passion and the will. Yeah. If you talking cash, then we could build. Nigga, even my altar pieces got the all gold slugs. Look at that. You niggas ain't on this yet. Real abundance energy. I'm telling you. I'm fucking telling you. Alright, enough of that. One time for my niggas, two times for my niggas. It's your main man, Daddy Sheba, back in this bitch once again with the Libra New Moon ceremony. This is the Etheric Exodus. Clap it up for yourself if you're here. Clap it up for yourself if you're not. Of course, all of my live ceremonies run on quantum time, so anytime you see this, it's happening now. The ritual's happening right now for you, so it doesn't matter whether it be today, tomorrow, or yesterday. Shout outs to my dogs that can time travel. Alright, so I wanted to start out with a little bit of music, because, of course, gotta invite the ancestors in, gotta get the energy moving, gotta get the energy flowing. You see what I'm saying? There's a lot we have to... Motherfucker. There's a lot we have to discuss, a lot we have to build on tonight. Kali's not here. She's off doing important things, you know what I'm saying, in other dimensions and shit. So, you know, have fun with that. But there's a lot of things we got to discuss, a lot of things we got to get into. Of course, shout outs to all of my monthly subscribers, you see what I'm saying, to the Chaos Code. I super fuck with all of you niggas. I hope you took the time to read the Zocan energy forecast. A lot of the concepts and everything that were brought up in that forecast are going to be discussed here today. The ritual is going to be based on a lot of that energy as well. If you have yet to subscribe to the Chaos Code monthly subscription service, I would highly recommend that you do. Lots of amazing energy, lots of amazing information being put into the sphere, being put into the cipher. I definitely want y'all to take advantage of it. Definitely a very fair price for the amount of knowledge that you're getting access to. All right, that was my little commercial or whatnot. Before I get into anything serious, I want to set the vibrational tone of this entire scene right now. I want to open up the space to all of my ancestors, known and unknown, all of my barons, all of my gaydays, all of your barons, all of your gaydays, your known and unknown ancestors, respectively. You see what I'm saying? So I'm going to start this off with a little bit of this here singing bowl. Don't mind me. I'm not the super greatest at playing this shit, but it's the intention that counts. Like I said, I glued a Herkimer diamond, a Herkimer diamond into the center of the singing bowl. Just recently got this bitch, the Herkimer diamond, that is, had the singing bowl. Y'all already know that. But did a little research into the energy of the Herkimer diamond. Definitely great for Reiki, definitely great for different attunements, definitely great for raising the vibration of whatever the fuck you're doing. So I figured it'd be a great way to kind of start out to set the tone of what we're going to be doing here today, because trust me, you're going to need all the high vibrational motherfucking energy you can get. If you can hear it, give me a thumbs up, some shit. squad. All right. So, I guess I wanted to play one more time. Just had to use that to set the tone, set the vibration that we gonna be coming in with. Like I said, this is the Libra New Moon ceremony. Welcome, welcome. This is the Etheric Exodus. All right. The energies that I'm going to be channeling to deliver this message to you are going to be. Let me see here. Let me see if I can find them. Let's see here. Oh, here's one of them. Let's see here. Let's see here. Let's see here. There we go. All right. So, the energies that I'm going to be utilizing to channel this particular message. Keeb. All right. We're going to talk about the energy of Keeb and the big homie Maluk. All right. These are the two energies that we're going to be utilizing today. Definitely get a good look at them. You see what I'm saying? Definitely attune your focus to these powerful archetypes. All right. As we move forward in time, as we move forward with this live ritual, the ceremony here. Once again, shout outs to everybody that's participating. Shout outs to everybody that made the investment to be a part of this. I definitely appreciate you. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your energy. I appreciate your soul on an even deeper level. I and I can see you and you. All right. True. So, like I said, Keeb and Maluk. Keeb, C-I-B, and Maluk, M-U-L-U-C, are going to be the energies that I am using to channel this particular message and conduct this ritual with. All right. Keeb has the qualities of grace, trust, inner voice knowing, intuition, following inner guidance, galactic conduit, reception, mystic transmission, divine communication, cosmic consciousness, golden pillar, the golden staff, ferryman staff, and interdimensional guides. It is symbolized using the images of the staff, the rod, and the owl. All right? Hold that in your mind. Maluk has the qualities of lunar intelligence and wisdom. Lunar intelligence and wisdom. This becomes very important. Signals, signs, awakened attention, self-remembrance, divine guidance, God seed, cosmic communication, and beacon. All right. It is symbolized by the lotus, the moon, and also water. All right. So the reason why this is called the Etheric Exodus is because through my work with the Zolkin calendar and really using it as a divinatory tool to really have this in-depth look at the ever-growing, ever-expanding consciousness evolution that is going on Earth, I was able to create a specific system with which to view and discuss that said evolutionary process in a way that we could all understand, in a way that we could all relate to. And that's where the Akashic Arcade concept comes from. Now, if you've been following me for a while, you've heard me talk about this Akashic Arcade in a couple different ways, in a couple different times, in a couple different spaces. The last time that I made reference of the Akashic Arcade was during my invasion of the imagination, or the I Magi nation. You see what I'm saying? That's why that's the song I ended with. That was the last time I talked about it during my Invasion of the I Magi Nation Periscope. You see what I'm saying? So I kind of want to give all of you guys a good basis, a good solid ground to really understand what the Akashic Arcade is all about. Once again, if you've already, you know, subscribed to the motherfucking Chaos Code monthly subscription thing, the Zolkin energy forecast that I put out kind of already talks about this. I'm reiterating this for the people who aren't subscribed. All right. So what we have to understand about the reality that we live in is that it is holographic. It is a virtual reality. This is not me saying this just to sound cool and spiritual. This is what the quantum physicists are saying. This is what some of the smartest people on the planet that are conducting these experiments are saying. This is also a reiteration of what the ancestors said that this reality was. They said that it was Maya. They said it was the illusion. It is not as it appears. And a hologram is not as it appears. You see what I'm saying? It's a bending of light to create an image that's truly not there, but yet still carries information within it of the original object that it is replicating. All right. So this reality has been and always will be a quantum RPG. What's an RPG, you say? A role-playing game. It is a role-playing game. How do I know this? Simple. Some of the most basic psychological terms that we utilize on a daily basis without thinking about it tell us what this shit is. Step outside of the quantum physics for a minute. You have a personality, right? All right. Well, the term personality etymologically goes back to the Greek word persona, which is a mask worn by an actor in a play. So your personality, your persona, the person that you think you are is not who you really are. It's just a role that you're playing in an even greater, even deeper game. You see what I'm saying? This is why I called it the Akashic Arcade, because this is a holographic virtual reality game. Your soul decided to come into this virtual reality with the help of your ancestors in order to have a specific type of experience, in order to run a specific kind of simulation, in order to learn and gain different bits of information that it would need in order to evolve itself into higher stages of consciousness. All right. This is what the Akashic Arcade is all about. Really understanding that this reality is a video game and using the most advanced scientific principles and the most advanced spiritual principles that we could find in order to begin to really treat this shit like a game. Because what's the whole point of a game? Leveling up, unlocking new powers, unlocking new abilities, unlocking new weapons, new tools, new whatever the fuck, in order to be able to beat the game and thus transcend the game. We're trying to get back to real life. So animes like Sword Art Online are a really good example of what this shit is all about. We're stuck in a virtual reality game. The Matrix is an even better version of this shit because they had to jack into the Matrix in order to do what they did. The issue is we've become locked in this Matrix, right? Which is one of the illest components of the Akashic Arcade, because the minute you download your consciousness, the minute you download all of your soul energy into this game, there goes your memory of everything that happened before you logged in. There goes your memory of everything that happened before you decided to step into this human avatar. All right? So this is what we're dealing with. This hologram, this holographic reality, the Maya, the illusion, is ran by a specific set of codes. That code is called the collective unconscious. That is the base core programming of the entire reality that you experience in front of you. All of this shit's a simulation. based on the collective unconscious thought forms of reality, which we know as archetypes, but I'm not going to deal with all that right now. So we're here in this game. We're on level 1, because the minute you decide that you want to play this game, you have to come back to level 1. You have to remove all of the knowledge of you being a greater entity, a supreme being, you see what I'm saying, in order to play this game. Because if you held on to that memory, there will be no point in playing. You wouldn't actually be able to accomplish the task that you set out to accomplish when you downloaded your consciousness here to the earth. All right? So, with that being said, we are now stuck at level 1 because as a species, we've become so entranced by the earth, by this virtual reality, that we forgot that there is a greater reality to deal with. We've become so locked into the base state of our existence, the root chakra state of our existence, the most primary level of our existence, that we've completely forgotten that there were higher levels to evolve to. We completely forgot that there was more powers to go and get. We forgot that there was more abilities to tap into, because we've been so comfortable and we've been so conditioned to enjoy just being human. Ain't nothing wrong with just being human. But when there is way more left to do in the game, circling around and bullshitting yourself on level 1 becomes an issue, especially when there is a greater task to accomplish. So that's what the whole Akashic Arcade series was all about. Really understanding that, number 1, this is a virtual reality. Number 2, it's a video game at that, so you have to beat the shit in order to free yourself from the video game and get back to real life, right? And then number 3, really evolving your consciousness through the gameplay. All right? This is what we're dealing with. Now, with the invasion of the I Magi Nation, what I was ultimately trying to convey in that periscope, whether you've seen it or not, was the fact that a new code, a new light code, a new program had been installed into the core coding of the Akashic Arcade, into the collective unconsciousness of humanity, that was now going to begin to shift the way in which this game is played. Invasion of the I Magi Nation, the land of magical sight, the land of magical visions. I Magi, magical vision. Nation is a landmass. It is also a group of people. All right? So that's ultimately what we're dealing with. Understanding that the imagination is a real place, and that the codes to unlocking the greater mysteries of the imagination and the power of the Magi, the magician, are now in place for us to utilize on a much deeper level. And the only way to access the I Magi Nation is through the imagination. Really beginning to imagine and dream and visualize our way into a new reality, into a new holographic coding, into a new level of the game. That's what the I Magi Nation, or the invasion of the I Magi Nation, was really all about. The return of a specific set of codes that would allow us to do such a thing, that would allow us to transcend the limited reality, the limited thought forms, the limited programming of the human vessel. Because here's the funniest thing about humanity that we now need to understand as a part of this Akashic Arcade. The average human has about 125 billion miles. Let me say this again. 125 billion, that's a B, nigga, billion miles of DNA in their body. Out of that 125 billion miles of DNA, We only have access to 3% of that DNA. Only 3% of the 125 billion miles of DNA is actively coding for anything. What does that tell you about what humanity actually is right now? We're asleep. We're not actually on. You have yet to actually access the full capabilities of this human avatar, of this human vessel, of this character that you've chosen to play as, which in a video game would mean you're on level 1. This is what we need to understand now, because if you think that this is the best humanity has to offer, you're fucking wild. I'm gonna tell you that now. Sorry to burst your bubble. Sorry to, you know, fuck up your little head. If you think the iPhone is the greatest thing we've ever invented, you're fucking wildin'. That's for certain. 125 billion miles of DNA. That's enough to reach out into the stars. And only 3% of it is actually doing anything right about now. I want y'all to think about that and hold that in your head for a little bit. That you're not even really alive yet. You have yet to actually tap into all of the potential that's lying dormant within you. This is why the invasion of the I Magi Nation had to happen. This is why this new code had to be programmed in. Because for some reason, humans have all this genetic potential, but yet no access to it. None whatsoever. They also don't even know how to access these powers that are lying dormant just below the surface, right there in the subconscious. And the reason why we don't have access and we don't know how to access is because there was a virus updated, or uploaded, I should say, into the system, into the core system. You've been trained and mind controlled through generation after generation after generation after generation to buy into a specific narrative, to buy into a specific storyline, to buy into a specific set of pre-calculated actions that have ultimately locked you out of your full potential of being. This is where we now begin to reclaim the power that we've forgotten. This is now where we begin to retake the land, the power, the wealth, the resources, all of the shit that was stolen from us when this virus was updated, or uploaded, I should say. It's definitely going through some updates right now. That's probably why I keep saying it. You can go look and see. Trump out here sending out mass texts and shit. Shout outs to Toyisha, because she was the one that really put me onto this shit. That message from Trump, that was the 7th trumpet blowing. Nigga, this is Revelations. You niggas don't realize it's the end of the world, and that's why you're getting so fucked right now. The virus is updating. They're about to move into their end game. They're about to move into their final phase. I really want y'all to stay with me right here. This is the end of the game. We've been stuck on this level for so long that now they're about to just wipe the whole system and start over again. Unless you motherfuckers can actually wake up and start completing these levels and start making your way out of the system that is about to be destroyed. Unless you motherfuckers can start waking up and start really realizing your potential in order to start making your way out of a matrix that is about to be deleted. These are the things that I'm dealing with when I'm dealing with this etheric exodus. Because when we deal with the shadow of Maluk, matter of fact, let's read, because you know I like reading. Shadow wisdom: self-forgetting, negative self-talk, self-deprecation, lacking awareness of signs offered by cosmic communication, hiding the fullness of your light. You niggas can't make your way out of the matrix because you don't remember who you are anymore. You actually really believe that you're this human entity here on Earth. You believe in this hologram. You believe it so much that you've made it your entire reality, and now stepping back out of it seems scarier than what you're gonna deal with staying in it. You've become so conditioned and so used to slavery and the mentalities of slavery and the consciousness of slavery and the consciousness of poverty and the consciousness of scarcity and the consciousness of fear and the consciousness of shame and the consciousness of guilt, that you would much rather deal with this shit than make your way out of it. You'd much rather stay in bondage than fight for your own freedom. Doesn't this sound a little bit like the book of Exodus in the Bible, where the Hebrews were locked in captivity in Egypt for so long that they didn't even want to fight no more for their own freedom? They were comfortable with it. They were used to it. Until a nigga named Moses showed up. And started to get these messages from this unknown source. Matter of fact, messages from an unknown source. Wait a minute. Hold on. Let me read some more. Because what was Keeb if not mystic transmissions, divine communication, galactic conduit, following inner guidance? The shadow of Keeb is lacking trust in your inner knowing. Your ability to feel and act on guidance from spirit. You niggas don't remember who you are because you're not trying to follow the signs to remember who you are anymore. You've been trained against trusting that part of yourself. You don't trust your intuition. You don't trust your instincts. You can't see what's right in front of you anymore. Now is the time where we begin to wake up and actually activate some of the most basic programming that was available to humanity in order for humanity to actually evolve through the different levels of this holographic video game, so that way we could then transcend it and go back into the real world with a whole new set of powers, a whole new set of abilities, a whole new perspective on what reality was. All right? This is what we're dealing with here. This is the etheric exodus. It's about exiting a matrix that is now collapsing. Regaining your sovereignty, regaining your freedom, regaining your power. Regaining all of the prosperity, all of the abundance, all of the potential that was stolen from you. Breaking free of the conditioning that you've begun to normalize. We're in such a state of dis-ease that now we think we're healthy. We've become so diseased, we don't even know we're diseased anymore. This is the bigger issue, and this is what I came here to talk about tonight. This is what I came here to deal with. The scales of karma are being rebalanced. The karmic cycles of not just you, not just the people around you, but the entire human collective is being rebalanced. You're being set free. But in order for you to make the most of that freedom, you're going to have to reprogram the entire way that you look at this reality. You're going to have to remember who you actually are. Because the story that you've been told and the story that you've been sold is the same story that's kept you in bondage this entire time. I know this is a lot to take in right now. Just rock with it. You got the link forever. Watch this shit a million times if you need to feel where I'm coming from. All right? You were given, as a human, specific tools. Because mind you, yeah, when you come into this reality, you give up a lot of your memory, you give up a lot of your power, you give up a lot of your abilities, you give up a lot of shit to be here. So you've been brought back to level 1. But just like in any other video game, you're given a basic set of abilities and powers and controls. You're also given a quick tutorial on how to use them, and you're also given signs and guidance from the game itself, from the collective unconsciousness itself, so that way you can begin to free yourself into higher levels. Daddy Shiva, what are these basic controls that we have? I feel like I'm a victim. I feel like I ain't got no power. I feel like I ain't got no ability. I feel like I ain't got no way out of this hole. Yeah, you do. You got a few. Matter of fact, you got two very powerful ones. Your instincts and your intuition. Those are forms of lunar intelligence. You also have your imagination. That doesn't really come in until level 2, to be honest. But for now, you have your instincts and your intuition. These are the two basic powers that you were given in order to be able to guide yourself into higher levels, so that way you could get more powers and more abilities. The voice in the back of your head and the feeling in the pit of your stomach, these were given to you as a form of guidance, so that way you would not get stuck repeating the same cycles of action over and over and over and over again. But due to this virus that I like to call the WASP paradigm, due to this virus, you've been trained out of trusting those forms of intelligence. You've been trained out of trusting those subconscious forms of intelligence, those lunar, yin-based forms of intelligence. Because in the WASP paradigm, the only form of intelligence that matters is intellectual. If it can be proven with logic and rationale, and then it doesn't matter at all. If it can be explained with logic and rationale, then it doesn't matter at all. This is the virus. Because what that form of thinking, what that paradigm of reality actually does is force you to rely on your ego as your main tool for guidance, as your main motivation for all of your actions. Nothing wrong with the ego, except that it's not supposed to be the one driving this vehicle. It is a part of the vehicle. You're supposed to be in control of the ego. The ego is not supposed to be in control of you. The ego is the conscious mind. The conscious mind is only the top 10% of your awareness. This is why I always say consciousness is an iceberg. What you can see on the surface is not the entire thing. There's a whole 90% under the water that's supporting that which you can see on top. The subconscious awareness is where the true powers are at. But you've been trained to be scared of the dark. You've demonized darkness. You've demonized the yin realm. You've demonized the divine feminine who runs the yin realm. Through the religions, through the traditions, through the cultures, through society, you've been trained to demonize these aspects of your own being, of your own power. Now you don't trust them anymore. You don't even know how to communicate with that aspect of yourself anymore. This is why I'm saying this virus is very dangerous. It is very dangerous. Because that virus, that paradigm of thought, that paradigm of reality is about to get deleted. It's about to be removed from the core programming of this video game, of this holographic virtual reality. And everything that is attached to it is going to get deleted too. Everyone that's still working within that paradigm of thought, you're going to get deleted too. Because the programmers of this game don't want anything to do with it. They've been trying to beat this virus for a long time, and they finally got into the actual details, the final actual aspect of it, and they're about to really wage war on this shit with a mean antivirus. So that way the game can go back to operating the way that it needs to. So this is what I'm saying to you niggas. I know this is a lot to take in right now. I know this is a lot to think of, to really comprehend and internalize. The best way that you're going to be able to really take this information and really begin to hold on to it and make use of it is by reading the story of Moses. He really thought he was Egyptian. He really thought that he was a part of the royal family. He never knew his actual origins. He was forced to forget who he was. But then all of a sudden, this voice came to him and started delivering these messages, telling him that he had to free these people who he thought were just slaves. He always felt some sort of sympathy for them, always felt some sort of connection for them, but he didn't know where it was coming from. He didn't know where that instinct, where that intuition was coming from. But he kept getting these messages that these were his people and that these were the people that he was going to free from bondage and return to the promised land. What promised land? Where? Nigga, how? What? Who are you? Where is this coming from? He couldn't remember. Then this nigga had to go out into the wilderness to really try to sort out all of these different conflicting feelings he was having. And in the wilderness, in that journey of self, in that journey into his own shadow, he was able to find the very source of those messages at the burning bush, right? And this burning bush was the one that really showed him what everything was all about, what these messages were. He had to go into hermit mode in order to clearly decipher the messages that were being given to him. He had to go into a sort of isolation. He had to get away from all of the other thoughts and feelings and emotions that could have been projected onto him and be with himself. He had to be alone. He had to be all one in order to truly decipher what was going on. And in that very moment, the burning bush happened as he was wandering through that desert. And that burning bush began to break down how he was really one of the Hebrews and that he was the one that was chosen to free them. That nigga couldn't believe it. What do you mean what, nigga? I don't know them niggas. I just feel a little sympathy for him. I've always kind of, but damn, that's crazy. I don't even know if, nah, nigga, I can't be the one. Nigga, nah, you not talking about me. Ain't no way, nigga. That's how the ego does. It tries to limit you from these experiences because it wants to keep playing shit safe. It wants to stay in the reality that it's most comfortable with. It wants to keep living in that and repeating those cycles over and over again because it's what it's used to. The ego's afraid of the unknown. So that nigga began to question, yo, who are you? What is this? What the fuck? Where are you coming from? How did you even know this? And what did the burning bush say when he asked, who are you? That nigga said, I am that I am. It wasn't Jehovah. It was Ehyeh, I am. This is when Moses actually remembered himself. This is what that whole story was about. The journey that you have to go through on earth in order to truly remember who and what the fuck you actually are. Because there's a really big difference between the I and the me. The I is the soul, the intangible. The me is the manifested entity that the soul inhabits in order to have an experience. There are two different entities that can be unified to become one, but ultimately they're two completely different things, especially now. That bush said, I am that I am. What that bush was really saying is, nigga, I'm you, but the real you. I am the being that lives inside of you. I am the being that is in control of all of this shit. I am the being that directs all of your actions. And now that you've come to this place of solitude, I can now become one again. Instead of being an individual, I divide and dual, splitting oneself into two parts in order to be able to reflect upon who you actually are. I can now be alone again, all one again. All right? This is why I really made an important, or this is why I found it important to really identify and give definition to the energy of Keeb. Because Keeb is the golden staff of the shepherd. After that conversation with the burning bush, that nigga Moses said, yo, how will I know you're with me? How will I know you're here? I can't see you. That nigga said, every time you drop your staff, it'll turn into a snake. And when you pick it up again, it'll turn back into a staff. That was how this entity, the I am, communicated that I am ever present. I'm always watching. I'm always with you. My power is always here, whether you can see it or not. Golden staff. The pillar that reaches up into heaven and connects to the earth. This was how this galactic energy was able to ground itself in the mind and the heart of Moses, so that way he would have the confidence to believe that the power was always there. This was how, look now, we're dealing with the self-remembering. Once this conversation happened with the burning bush, Moses could no longer hide his light. He could no longer continue to live in a reality where his people were being treated and subjugated to a bunch of bullshit. He had to remember who he was. He had to remember his power, remember his path, and remember his true mission. And then he had to carry out that mission and lead his people like a shepherd into the promised land. This is why I said it's an etheric exodus. Because you think you're lonely. You think you're alone. No, nigga, you're all one. All of your ancestors are in your DNA right now. What's one of the most common symbols of DNA? The snake, right? All right. What's the symbol for medicine? Isn't it a pole, a staff with the two snakes circling it, and then the wings? Oh, okay. So I guess DNA is the golden pillar, the golden staff that reaches into the cosmos. 125 billion miles. That'll get you pretty far out into space. And supposedly you niggas are the God seed. You're the star children, right? So wouldn't that mean that your DNA has to stretch all the way back to the star that you came from? Let's keep that in mind. DNA must be this golden pillar that they talk about. This golden staff, this golden rod that connects you to the cosmos. But wouldn't you know, DNA is a receiver and a transmitter of all types of energy. The shit's an antenna. It's the staff that can literally help you communicate with the niggas back home. Your real self, the I am. The person controlling the avatar that you're currently in. You've seen the movie Avatar, with the blue people. You know what the deal is. They showed you what the deal is. Go back and watch that shit. This is what we're dealing with. The golden staff, the golden pillar of DNA that is your lifeline. It is also the proof of your power. You think you're alone. No, you're not. You're all one. All of your ancestors, all of the evolutionary advancements, all of the physical evolutions, all of the mental and spiritual evolutions that they've had are living inside of you, but they're dormant. Keeb is a galactic conduit. It is an opening through which the energies that exist in the greater universe can now begin to implant themselves and ground themselves onto the planet, the same way the staff connects heaven to earth. The same way the staff of Moses was the proof that the I am, the highest sphere on the tree of life, was ever present inside of Moses, the human on earth. This is the controller cord that connects you back to your real self, the nigga that's really playing this game. This is what we're trying to get back to. This is what we're trying to deal with. So when I say etheric exodus, please understand that all of the power of your ancestors that was once dormant, that was once inactive, that was once held in bondage, is now about to free itself. It's now about to make its way into the earth. It's about to cross the Red Sea into the promised land, which is really saying all of this power is about to activate within your body. It's about to make itself seen. Let's talk about two more energies real quick. We got Amun, Amun-Ra, the hidden sun god. Hold on, wait. And then we got Amsu, who is Amun in his seen form. The only difference between Amun and Amsu is the fact that Amsu takes what is hidden and brings it to the light through his flesh. These are cards that I pulled this morning. These were the two cards that I pulled this morning. They came out together. So this etheric exodus is about taking all of the ancestral power, all of the ancestral wisdom that is represented by Keeb, all of that genetic potential that is hidden in the darkness of the galaxy, and bringing it to the light, making it seen, making it visible, making it a part of your physical vessel. This is what we're dealing with here, taking what was hidden and bringing it to the light, and then utilizing that light to find our way back. Utilizing that light as a beacon in order to help guide those that are willing to free themselves. We're becoming a lighthouse now. We're becoming galactic shepherds to lead those that are willing to free themselves out of the bondage of root chakra consciousness. So if this is a video game, this level of the video game is ruled by a boss. You have to fight the boss in order to get to the next level. The boss of this root chakra level of consciousness: poverty, scarcity, fear, shame, guilt. That's what's keeping you trapped here. That's the gravity. These are the 5 fingers of death that are keeping you stuck in the grave of gravity. You're dead. You're not alive. If only 3% of your DNA is active, then nigga, you're not alive, really. You think you're alive, but actually this is the death realm. This is the underworld. We can prove that because they talk about the underworld being a realm of darkness, right? All of the ancient cultures talk about the underworld being a realm of darkness, right? Well, your 2 eyeballs only work on visible light. And visible light is only a thin little sliver of the entire electromagnetic spectrum. So what the fuck does that mean? Nigga, you're blind. You're living in darkness right now. The whole point of enlightenment is to be able to now interact with all of the greater electromagnetic forces that exist in this universe. which would then mean being able to see all of the greater dimensions that exist within this universe, beyond the 4 dimensions that we are aware of, the 3 dimensions of space and the 1 dimension of time. This is why I said etheric exodus. This is about opening up your vessel to be able to contain, to be able to remember all of the different powers and abilities that were once your second nature. All of the power and abilities that are yours by birthright. You think you have to fight for this shit? Oh no, this was yours. You are the chosen people. This shit's yours. Just by ancestral right alone. This shit's yours. But the question now remains, are you going to claim your birthright? Are you going to own up to your power? Are you going to step out of the roles of victimhood? Are you going to claim the responsibility and the accountability for the reality that you're in order to be able to transcend it and move into higher levels of consciousness? This is what we're dealing with here. This is what we're talking about, right? You think they get it, my G? I don't know. This might take a little while. They might have to sit on this, meditate on it, have a little dream about it. What? What was that? Oh, okay. All right, I feel you. My nigga said y'all need to stop being fucking scary. My nigga said y'all need to stop being so scared of the damn power. Y'all have become so comfortable being victims that you think that there's some type of power in being a victim. You think that there's some type of power in being a slave. Nah, there's no power in that. You surrender your power to other entities when you decide to submit to their agenda, to their narratives, to their programming. When you take it upon yourself to pick up your staff of power, when you take it upon yourself to pick up your sword and remember who you are and regain your sovereignty, that's when the power comes back. That's when you're able to part the Red Sea. That's when you're able to call on plagues. That nigga Moses said, let my people go. The Pharaoh said no. The nigga said, let my people go. The Pharaoh said no. That nigga said, let my people go. The Pharaoh said no. He was like, all right, nigga, 10 plagues for your bitch ass. Here you go. Since you don't want to let my niggas go, you gonna suffer through these plagues and my people gonna be Gucci. Because the plagues are gonna pass over us. What did they have to use in order to get the plagues to pass over them? They had to sprinkle the blood of a sheep onto the doorposts. Didn't we just come out of an Aries moon? Oh, okay. Oh, all right. Whatever. Y'all niggas can wake up when y'all ready. I'm just pointing out the signs and the symbols, nigga. I'm just showing you what they mean. It's up to you to determine what the fuck you're gonna do with this information now. Because your ancestors are ready. Oh, they ready. They knocking at the door and they ready to kick ass. It's all about whether you're going to take it upon yourself to actually open up that door. Whether you're going to take it upon yourself to be the conduit with which they can act in this realm. Are you going to choose to keep suffering? Are you going to choose to keep living a life of limitation, a life of lack, a life of fear, a life of poverty, a life of scarcity, a life of victimhood? Are you going to keep choosing to live that, or are you going to remember who and what the fuck you are and claim your power, claim the responsibility, and get to work? Because trust me, these motherfuckers are not just going to let you go. You're their battery source. The Matrix said that. You're their source of power. So they're not just going to let you get away. You're their most valuable real estate. You're their most valuable asset. You're their workforce. You're their worker bees. You're their drones. You're their sheep. They use you as food, as fuel, as energy. They're not just going to let you run away. So trust me when I say you're going to have to really begin to start deprogramming, decoding all of the different bullshit that these niggas have programmed into you in order to make you a docile slave. It's going to take some work. But trust me when I say your ancestors are here, ready and willing to give you all of the codes that you need, all of the signs that you need, all of the direction, all of the guidance that you need to be able to remember all of the powers that are within you. Because you were dismembered. You were cut up into pieces. You were cut into these small parts, cut into fragments. But now we have to utilize a divine feminine energy like Maluk in order to be able to really take this power back. Hold on. I gotta pause for a second. Get my little charger game together. I'm not gonna be able to charge it over there. Alright. I guess I gotta take you niggas off the altar real quick. Hold on. Nigga, I know the orientation. Shut up. Alright. So So this is what we're gonna have to begin dealing with on a greater level in order to be able to really open up all of these different powers that have been dormant within us for the longest time. This is why I said it's an etheric exodus. So all of this is just to explain what this ritual is all about, what we're trying to accomplish when we're going to open these doors, when we're going to part this sea. Because mind you, Maluk is water. We're going to part the sea so that our ancestral power, abilities, knowledge, wisdom can come flooding back into us consciously. This is about making what was hidden, what was dormant, what was inactive, active again, bringing it into the light, bringing it into our conscious awareness, remembering it because we were dismembered. Now is when Aset collects the dead body parts of Asar, remembers them, puts them all back together, so that way she can resurrect the body. But the only way we're going to be able to accomplish this task is by learning to trust a new form of intelligence that's being downloaded within us. It's called intuition. It's called instinct. It's lunar intelligence. It's not the intellect of the ego. The ego only knows what it knows, and it knows very little. Lunar intelligence comes from the subconscious mind, and if most of who you are is actually under the water, then that means that lunar intelligence actually has way more genetic information to work with, way more genetic wisdom to work with. So when it decides to make decisions, when you let it be the one that actually guides the ship, you're going to get a lot farther than what the ego can do. Nothing wrong with the ego. It has a specific job. Our issue is that we've given the ego way too much goddamn power. We've let it operate this ship a little bit too much, knowing good and goddamn well that it's blind and it does not have the capabilities necessary to truly utilize this vehicle to its highest capacity. And thus we've gotten locked in these cycles of repetitive action, repetitive thoughts. We've become addicted to a certain cycle of behavior. We've become addicted to a certain cycle of routines. We've become addicted to a certain cycle of emotions.
because that's what the ego deals with. It only is going to deal with what it's familiar with, what it's comfortable with, because that's what it's least afraid of. This is now us stepping into the dark, into the unknown, into the lunar intelligence, into the lunar realms, in order to become a master of the night. That's why Keeb is also symbolized by the owl, the master of the night. It has eyes that can see in the dark, ears that can hear in the dark, and a head that can turn all the way around to see the full scope and perspective of what's going on. The pharaoh in Egypt was always associated with the god Heru, which is a hawk. Hawks are known for their amazing vision. Every leader is known for its amazing vision. The only difference between a hawk and an owl is the fact that the owl does its job at night. That's it. So we're now stepping into this lunar realm. We're stepping into the realms of death, supposedly, in order to be able to awaken our ancestors again and guide them back into this realm through our vessel, through our body, so that way they can begin to utilize our body to display all of their powers. This is the level up. October is going to be a real spooky month for you niggas, because Dia de los Muertos, the Day of the Dead, is coming. Word to Mac Miller. That nigga died on the Zolkin calendar on the day of death. He died on 10 Kimi, which is literally the manifestation of death. So this nigga was setting it all up. This is going to be the best day ever. The best Day of the Dead ever. I know you niggas seen the movie Coco, and if you haven't seen the movie Coco, you need to go watch it. That shit's fire. Because it explains to you how all of this ancestral veneration, how all of this ancestral worship actually works. You take care of them, and they can take care of you. Because my nigga in the movie had to get his ancestors' blessing in order to even leave the realm of the dead and go home. But the only way that the ancestors are able to give you their blessing is when you remember them. When you keep them in your heart, when you keep them in your mind, when you feed them. That's what all the altars are for. That's what all the magic is about. It's about awakening the dormant powers of your ancestors in your conscious reality by remembering that they are always with you. That's why Moses needed a sign, a signal that would show that the power of his higher self was always with him, because he needed to remember, because the ego is quick to forget. This is what I'm dealing with here. This is what we're all dealing with here. If you're watching this shit, you have been chosen to be a shepherd of not only your living bloodline, but the bloodline that is on the other side. You've been chosen as the shepherd that's going to lead all of them out of this state of bondage and into a new state of freedom. You're going to be the one that leads them to the promised land, a new heaven on earth. But it starts by freeing them from the bondage. It starts by claiming your birthright and leading them out of the bullshit. And trust me, this is not going to end the way Exodus ended, where Moses wasn't even able to enjoy the promised land, or wasn't able to enter into the promised land. Trust me, you're going to be able to get there too. You're going to be able to experience it too. Everything you're doing right now is setting an example for those around you, those within your bloodline, at least the living ones, on how they're going to be able, when they're ready, to free themselves from this shit. You're leaving a trail of breadcrumbs right now that leads to the path of freedom. This is like the Underground Railroad. Shout outs to Harriet Tubman. And since we talking about Harriet Tubman, my nigga, don't let no one slow you down. Put a shotgun to their face if you need to. Blow their fucking head off. Straight like that. They always want to make these stories about these savior figures seem all nice and dandy. Let me tell you right now, Harriet Tubman was blowing the head off of niggas that couldn't keep up. She was leaving them for the dogs. Because what she wasn't going to do was go back to being enslaved just to save some other niggas. She was going to keep her freedom while still showing everyone else how to free themselves as well. That's a fact. They don't tell you that part in school. That's how they program the narrative. They tell you these stories over and over and over again. But they don't tell you the whole story. They don't tell you the whole truth. So this is what I'm talking about. You are now this galactic conduit. You are the one that is receiving the signs and the signals and the messages from your higher self and your ancestors. Because trust me, they're all working together to help you remember who the fuck you actually are. They're the ones helping you remember I am that I am. So this is what we're dealing with. This is what it's all about. We have to now take back our power. We have to now take back our responsibility, our accountability. Stand in that power solidly, firmly stand in that power and be a beacon, a lighthouse to those who want to free themselves. We have to be the example. All right? This is what we're dealing with. This is what it's all about. This is what this ritual is for. This was a divine transmission to your higher self. This was the wake-up call. Let your people go. Let your ancestors go. Let them move through you. Let them move as you. Let them move with you. Let them move for you. So that way you can actually get back to the promised land. That you can get back to what you were owed when you came into this game. Because trust me, you came into this game to fulfill a specific task under the premise that you will be given specific rewards for doing this task for your ancestors. They chose you to be the captain. They chose you to be the pilot of this fucking vessel. Under the guise that you would be paid, under the guise that you would be rewarded for all of your hard work. It's time for you to tell them niggas to pay the fuck up. But the only way they're going to pay you is when you actually do the job that you were supposed to do. Here's your opportunity to take that power, to take that payday. 125 billion miles of DNA, only 3% is active. Do you know what that means? You are so in tune with an energy of abundance that you couldn't even fathom how much blessings are owed to you. Because you've been locked into a reality where poverty runs everything. Where scarcity runs everything. Oh shit, I'm frozen. Give me a thumbs up if you can still see me. That shit. Oh shit. Damn, they fucking with me now. They don't want me to deliver the message. That's crazy. Can hear you, can't see you. See? This that fuck shit. Alright, I'm gonna keep going. Fuck them niggas. This is how you know I'm dropping the hot shit, because now they're trying to fuck with my stream. They're trying to fuck with this flow. I'm really activating some shit in y'all. I'm really opening up a door right now back to the I am presence. Oh, here we go. Oh, okay. All right, that's what the fuck I thought. Back in this bitch, but a lot more rich. On my Papa Bear shit, need hot rich. Yo, so this is what I'm dealing with. This is what we're talking about. It's about really reawakening and opening up these powers, because who you think you are, you've only scratched the surface. You think your intuition is wild now? Wait until this month is over. Wait until this month is over. Wait until the Day of the Dead passes. That's at the end of the month. I do believe the Day of the Dead is usually the day before Halloween or All Hallows Eve. You think your shit's popping now? Nigga, just wait. They got more to give you. They got more to download. But you have to be open to the transmission. You have to be open to receive these messages. You have to be open to remember who the fuck you are. You have to be willing to stop shitting on yourself. You call yourself human. That shit is disrespectful at this point. You're not human. You're more than that. There are 7 billion humans on this planet right now. You are not one of them. The fact that on a fucking Monday, on a Monday of all days, you would sit here to have this type of a discussion, to be a part of this type of energy, shows that you're not fucking normal. The fact that you would invest money, time, energy, attention into something like this shows you're not normal. You're something completely different. The code you're running on is completely different. If this is a video game, all them niggas you see around you, non-playable characters. They're just background filler. They're not real the way that you're real. You have someone actually controlling you. You're not just being ran by the base code, by the computer. There is a conscious being, a conscious entity, a whole team of conscious entities, actually, that make up who you are. That's why you're awake right now. That's why you're aware right now. That's why you're the one being given this message right now. Because you are the one with the responsibility, the ability to respond to the call, to the message that's being given. You. Not your mom, not your dad, not your brother, not your sister, not none of them niggas. You are the one. You are Neo. N-E-O, O-N-E-O. Neo is the one. You're the one that now has to take up the responsibility to break this matrix, to reprogram this matrix in order to create the promised land. Zion. This is all I came here to tell you. It's time for you to wake up. Time for you to pick up your staff. Time for you to claim your power. And time for you to really start utilizing it. Stop hiding your light. Stop trying to be human. You were never human in the first place. This was just an avatar, a body that you put on, a body that you placed your consciousness in order to have a specific experience. But now it's time to let that experience go and become what you truly are. To become your real self again. No more negative self-talk. No more downplaying yourself. No more shitting on yourself. None of that. They can't guide you unless you're willing to understand that you are worthy of the promised land that you're being led to. This is all I'm saying to you. This is all I'm trying to get across right now. You make imagination real. The imagination, the imagination, the imagination, that is the promised land. The place where anything you can possibly conceive can be made manifest. Like that. The land of magical vision. That's the promised land. You damn right it's time. The time is now. The time will always be now. There is no past. There is no future. It's just now. The past doesn't exist anymore. It doesn't matter anymore. The future has yet to come into existence. It has yet to become matter. The only time that really matters is right now. This moment here. So this is what I'm saying. Claim the power. Claim the energy. Claim it all. Claim all of your ancestral wisdom. Claim all of your ancestral knowledge. The only way you're going to be able to do that, lunar intelligence, trusting your instinct, trusting your intuition. Lunar intelligence, lunar wisdom is very different than solar intelligence, which is intellect. It communicates in a very different way. Lunar intelligence communicates through signs and symbols. That's how the subconscious mind communicates to us. That's why our dreams are so important. Because that's how our subconscious mind communicates to us while the filter of our ego is completely asleep. While it is completely inactive, that's how our subconscious mind begins to tell us who we really are. So begin to analyze your dreams through the month of October. Really begin to pay attention to them and then go find out what the fuck they mean. Begin to decode these symbols. They can't tell you outright what the plan is, because if they told you straight out what the plan is, your ego would find ways to sabotage the shit. The ego is an agent provocateur at this point. It's been trained to completely fuck up the plans of the higher self through the wasp virus. It's an agent provocateur now. It is not on your side. That nigga's working for a whole other set of niggas at this point. So now it is your time to take these signs, these symbols, these messages that are being given, decode them so that way you can begin to follow the plan. Begin to take real action toward awakening all of these dormant powers that exist within your DNA. 125 billion miles. And you only have access to 3%? Nigga, it's about time you wake up. It's about time you take control again. You've played this game, you've played in this level of consciousness for too fucking long. And the trumpet was just sounded. The trumpet was just sounded. That nigga sent a message to everybody. That was the final warning. That this shit's about to go up in flames. And if you don't have the power to escape, guess what? You're gonna burn with it. Etheric exodus. A movement of Jah's people. This is a new stage in the game. This is the final countdown. The doomsday clock is about to hit midnight. And when this shit hits midnight, Cinderella, you're gonna lose all your shit. You're gonna have no way of getting back to it. Trust me when I say it. Use this time now. They're opening an entire door for you. They're about to flood you with this shit. So let's go crazy. Let's get nuts. Let's stop trying to play it safe. Let's stop trying to play by the normal rules. Let's tap into a new set of rules. Let's being. The ego thinks that it is, but the soul knows what it is. So if you don't get it now, trust me, I'm not talking to that part of you that doesn't get it. I'm talking to the part of you that already knows what's up. The signs, the symbols, they're all going to start coming through. You just have to be willing to follow them. You have to be willing to remember who you are. You have to be willing to take this shit to the next level. Etheric exodus. All of the power of your ancestors that were locked up, they're about to open the floodgates and release them. It's about to make itself visible in your flesh. It's about to make itself visible as a new body. A phoenix is about to rise from some mean pile of ashes. It's your time to really take up that staff power and lead the entire bloodline out of the fuckery and into the promised land. There's a new set of commandments that are about to be handed down. A new set of rules, a new universal law that's about to be handed down. You need to be at the forefront of that. You need to be at the fucking vanguard of that shit. The only way we're going to do that is by remembering who we really are beyond all of the human limitations that have been programmed into us. The only way we're going to remember who we are is by following the signs, the symbols, and the synchronicities that have been trying to guide us deeper and deeper down the rabbit hole back to our real self. The DNA is the galactic conduit. It is the one receiving and transmitting all of this information to you. Little did you know, the DNA is a low level or a low intensity laser. Lasers are what's needed to create a hologram. So your DNA is literally creating the reality around you right now. Cosmic Serpent by Jeremy Narby. You can go read it anytime you want. The DNA is a low intensity laser, a low intensity coherent laser, I should say. The DNA is also crystalline. It has a very ordered structure. So you're living in a crystalline holographic matrix based on the light that your DNA is giving off and the light that your DNA is receiving. So when you keep playing by the rules of the visible light realm, you're going to get stuck in the visible light realm. When you remember that you have access to all of the other electromagnetic frequencies that exist, that's when you begin to wake up all of these dormant powers that were in the darkness. That's when you begin to bring light out of the darkness. That's the enlightenment. This is when God can speak to you, speak through you, and speak as you. I am that I am. That's the mantra of the soul. That's also the mantra of Aries, I am. And under this Libra new moon, we are what we are, which is the Elohim. Elohim is not one God, it is a group of gods. Heru is not one Christ, it is a group of Christs. When you actually study these niggas' languages, you'll see. Anytime you add a U to the end of the word in Medu Neter, the ancient Egyptian language, that makes it plural. So Heru is not just one Christ, it is a group of Christs. Elohim is Eloah, which is a female goddess with the suffix im, which is a masculine plural. So it's literally Mama God and all of her sons. All of the stars that she gives birth to. Oh, you didn't know you're a star on Earth, did you? You're just playing a role. It's time to break out of the character and get back to shining your real light. So, I think I can charge my phone enough. Head altar real quick. Boom. So, I'm going to put you niggas on to a mudra. I always do. I'm always going to put you niggas on to a mudra during these ceremonies that you can utilize in order to align your vessel with more of this power. All right. So here's the mudra that we're going to be doing. We're going to start with the mudra for Keeb, and then we're going to move into the mudra for Maluk. All right. The mudra for Keeb. Arms out in a V, forming the cosmic chalice, the antenna that is receptive to the signals and messages that are being brought forward. Fingertips touching the third eye. All right? Because this is where the imagination lives. So we start with the V, we form that antenna. We bring that shit into the imagination, into the third eye. And then through the third eye, we project that reality down to earth. So we start with a V up here, bring it to the third eye, bring it back down to a V, or upside down V, an A, I guess, whatever the fuck you want to call it. So boom, so wait, no, boom, boom, boom. And then from there, we're going to move into the mudra from a look. Right arm forming an O on the third eye, focusing the vision, focusing the message. Right hand or left hand up, perpendicular together, palm forward. Boom. Intelligence. We're now enhanced in the night to be able to decode the signs, symbols, synchronicities that are being transmitted to us from the higher self to the earth, from the galaxy, from the galactic core into our eye, the first eye, let me not even say the third eye, the first eye, and then being projected down to earth. So 1, 2, 3, 4. This is how we bring it all together. You're going to want to do this shit as many times as you can stand. Keep doing it. Do it for the rest of the month. Do it once a day, every day for the rest of the month. And I promise you, the signs, the symbols, the synchronicities are not only going to become more potent, they're going to become a lot easier to understand and decode. They're going to become, the messages that you get are going to be a lot easier to trust now that you know where they're actually from. The intuitions and the instincts that you get are going to be a lot easier to trust because now you understand, oh shit, it's my ancestors. It's my whole bloodline that's trying to lead me, trying to guide me. These are the light codes that are ultimately the lighthouse showing me the way to make it out of this matrix and back into my true power as God on earth. This is what we're dealing with. So we're going to start here. Breathe it in. Breathe out. And as we breathe out, we're moving the hands to the third eye. I'm going to breathe in again. And as we breathe in, we move arms down, forming that A shape. We breathe out, right arm on the third eye, hand forming the O, left arm perpendicular, fingers together, palms facing forward. This is what we're going to do. So let's practice this a couple times. Let's get into the zone. Let's get into the feel of this. All right. As you breathe, you want to really breathe deep down into the sacral chakra, into your navel. Maluk is orange. That pillar that Maluk is forming is the umbilical cord, which is the golden pillar. This is why Keeb and Maluk are going together right now to deliver this message in this particular time, or this particular space and time. These are the signs of the time. Let's go back to it. Keep doing that. Keep cycling through that. I'm going to play a little bit more of this here Herkimer Diamond Singing Bowl to attune your energy with the energy of your ancestors, forming that harmonic resonance between your DNA and their DNA, so that way you can easily have these messages transmitted and filtered into your conscious awareness. Breathe in deep into your navel and breathe all the way out until your stomach feels like it's touching your spine.